Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about a pretty interesting, somewhat, I think, fun concept called live field notes. All right, so let's just get right into it. What exactly are live field notes? Well, live field notes are field notes that you're going to share, and you might share them in real time or almost real time. And I'm going to explain what I mean here. So what live field notes is going to allow you to do, okay? Because you are going to be sharing maybe not everything in your field notes, because not everything in your field notes is always as interesting, as we hope it would be. But you're going to share at least some portions of your field notes with an audience, with the public, okay? They're live, right? So people have access to them. And if you think about field notes, they are traditionally under lock and key, right? You or just your research team, right? You're the only ones that see them, okay? So this is a way to make those field notes more public and potentially have discussions around them. So, right, for me, that's what I see as the point of live field notes, is that ability to make my work more public and have that opportunity to engage in discussions around it, okay? And when you're thinking about this, if you decide you want to do live field notes or try it out, you're not obligated, obviously, to share any and everything. And you might be selective in what you share for any number of reasons, right? Including privacy or sensitive information, right? And this might not always be a good fit for every single project, okay? It's something I think to have fun and play with. So there are who knows how many ways to go about this, right? So I'm just going to give you kind of two ways that you can do it, but you should get in and play around and see what you can come up with and see what works for you. So first of all, here's how I do it. And I've only done it a little bit, all right? So when I did it, I was working in a middle school classroom. I was doing some research. I was taking field notes in there. And so what I would do is I would take my field notes as I normally would. Okay, so I'm either handwriting them or I'm taking them, on like a laptop or, a tablet or something, right? I'm writing them down. And then when there's a pause or a lull, because it happens, right? You don't have to constantly be writing when you're doing field observations. But when there was a little pause, then I would tweet them out. Or I might share them on Instagram, right? If I had pictures, right? Because sometimes I had pictures, never of people, because I did a lot, doing a work in a public school. I never shared photos of people at all, period. So it might just be an artifact, and I never shared anybody's name. So you have to be very careful if you do this, particularly if you're sharing pictures. You want to make sure that either you have the appropriate permissions in place to share, right? If you're sharing a picture of a person, or if you're sharing, a picture of a document that can somehow identify a person, or identify the place where you were, right? Any kind of sensitive information like that, you're going to want to make sure if you're sharing it, you've got permission to. Otherwise, either don't share it or, do what I do, which is take the picture in such a way that you don't reveal that sensitive information, okay? So I tweet it out or I share something on Instagram when I have a bit of downtime. And also, when you're doing this, turn your location off. Okay. Now, obviously, this isn't something that is going to be necessary for everybody. But again, right, think about your context. All right. I'm in a public school. I don't want people knowing, right, what school I'm at, right? I want that needs to be protected. So I turn my location off. So there's no chance, right? You will not see on the tweet or the Instagram post, you will not see where I tweeted it from. Okay, so consider that as well, right? Just something to think about. So that's one way to do live field notes, right? Is kind of doing them almost as they are happening. I don't recommend like only tweeting out, for example, or only putting on Instagram all of my field notes. Like I would not, I don't think, use social media as a way to document everything that I normally write. I don't think it'd be that interesting. And also I think it'd be kind of hard for me to keep up with in that regard, right? Because when I am taking field notes, I don't want to have to think about how many characters I have and that sort of thing, right? I want to be able to take my field notes and write as much as I need to write. And then I can go back and put it, into something that's a little more digestible. for people to engage with. And of course, you can add things to this, right? You can add questions, you can, to engage people and get them to talk about your work. Now, another way to do this, if you think about the previous video let me separate this out into 3 things. So another way to do this, the second way to do this would be go home and just write up your field notes. Write them up as a blog post, and then make that blog post public, and you can share that with the world, right? So that's another way, right? You can actually just have your field notes right there published live, and people can have access to them that way. And then what was I just thinking of? Something just popped in my head. Oh, right, analytic memoing. As I was talking, I was thinking back to the previous video on analytic memoing. So you can also share your analytic memos, right? So for example, I can see where I might personally really like, doing my regular method of taking my field notes, maybe by hand or on a laptop, and then tweeting them out or putting snippets on Twitter or Instagram. But then at the end of the day, I might go back or once a week, go back and, do an analytic memo as a blog post and share that analytic memo with folks. So you've got a number of options. And of course, you can keep playing around with it and, come up with something that really works well for you and your context.